Hi friends, Allie here. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to crochet these Snowman and Reindeer Appliqués. These patterns are a part of a crochet advent calendar series I've been working on. If you're not familiar with the series, then you can check out my advent calendar playlist here on my YouTube channel or head over to my website, theturtletrunk.com, where it has all of the info and all of the free crochet patterns to make your own advent calendar. But even if you're not making the advent calendar, you can still make these appliques and use them for whatever you'd like. You can sew them onto projects or add a hanging loop and use them as decorations. Now if you're ready to get started, let's head over to our supply list and let's get making. For these patterns, you'll need medium 4-way yarn. You'll need white, black, and orange for the snowman, and you'll need medium brown, dark brown, light brown, and red for the reindeer. You could also swap out the red for brown for the reindeer's nose. You'll also need a 3.75 millimeter or F crochet hook, scissors, a yarn needle, 4 6-millimeter black safety eyes, and 12 inches of black embroidery thread. That's for the snowman's smile. We're going to start by making the snowman, and beginning with our white yarn, we're going to make a magic circle and chain 1. Then for round 1, we are going to work 8 half double crochet stitches inside the circle. Then I'm going to take the short tail end there and pull it tight to close up the center of that circle. Then we're going to join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now we're on to round 2. For round 2, we're going to be working 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. At the end of round 2, our stitch count is at 16. We're going to join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now on to round 3. We're going to work 1 half double crochet into the first stitch and then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. At the end of round 3, our stitch count is now at 24. We're going to join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch. And now we can cut off our yarn. And you can weave in all of your ends on the back. And then we're going to move on to making the hat. So I'm going to be using red yarn to make my hat just for the video so you can see my stitches better, but you'll want to use black. So we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook and chain 4. Then starting in the second chain from the hook, we're going to work 3 single crochets across. Then chain 1 and turn. Then we're going to single crochet into each stitch across. Chain 1 and turn. Now for row 3, we're going to single crochet in each of the first 3 stitches. Then you're going to chain 4. Then in the second chain from the hook, we're going to single crochet and single crochet in each of the next 2 chains. Now we're going to be working across the side of the hat. So where we worked those first 3 rows, we're going to work 1 single crochet into the edge of each of those rows. So right now we're creating the brim of our hat. So 1 single crochet in each of those rows across. Then we're going to chain 4, single crochet in the second chain from the hook, single crochet into the next chain, and then into the next chain we are going to start a single crochet 2 together. And we're going to single crochet 2 together in the next chain and in the next stitch down. So insert your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So now we're working up back the hat, so that's row 1 from the very beginning where we started. So you can kind of see the hat shape starting to form, but now we're going to work a border around to help clean it up. So we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, and that's going to bring us to the top corner. In the corner, we're going to single crochet, chain 1 single crochet, and that's going to help us round that corner. Then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches across. Then we're going to single crochet, chain 1 single crochet into the corner. Now working down the other side, we're going to work 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to single crochet 2 together, working into the next stitch, and then to the brim. So the first chain of the brim on the next side, and that just helps keep the brim up more instead of having droopy ends. Single crochet, chain 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and we're going to repeat that again in the stitch after to help us round out that brim. So single crochet, chain 1 single crochet again into the next stitch. Now we're working on the bottom edge of the brim, and we're going to single crochet into each stitch across for a total of 7 single crochets. Once we get to that corner stitch, we are going to single crochet, chain 1 single crochet. And we're going to do that again into the next stitch. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Now you can cut off your yarn, and you want to leave a long enough tail that we can use it to sew it onto our snowman's head. And then you can weave in the short tail end on the back there. And then we're going to move on to his nose. So using my orange yarn, I'm going to start with a slip knot on my hook and chain 4. Then in the second chain from the hook, I'm going to work a half double crochet, then a single crochet into the next chain, and then slip stitch into the last chain. Then you can cut off your yarn, leaving a long enough tail that you can use it to sew it onto the snowman's face, and you can weave in that short tail end on the back. Now we'll move on to assembling our snowman. So I've gathered all of my pieces, so now we're going to sew on the hat, the nose, and add eyes, and then we can embroider on a smile if you'd like. So I'm going to add the hat to the top of the head, just above the halfway point, so it covers up the top of the head. Before I place anything down, I'm going to make sure I know where I want everything to go before I start sewing. I'm going to put the nose in the center, and then the 2 eyes between the hat and the nose, between rounds 1 and 2, and about 4 stitches apart. So I'm just going to place everything down, and then we'll move on to the smile. So now using some black embroidery thread, I'm going to sew on a little smile. You don't have to do this if you don't want. You don't have to add a smile, or you can add it wherever you want. But I'm going to go through the back to the front, one stitch over, go back through, and I'm going to do that over 3 stitches. So I'm going to do that 3 times, up through the back, back down through the front, working around 1 stitch at a time, and I'm going to do that 3 times. And this is between rounds 2 and 3 that I'm working through. But again, feel free to add a smile wherever you want, or if you don't want to add one, you don't have to. When you have it where you want, you can tie off the ends on the back. And then we have our little snowman applique. Now we're on to the reindeer. We're going to start with its head and our medium brown yarn. We're going to begin by making a magic circle and chaining 1. Then inside of the circle, we're going to work 8 half double crochets. You can then take the short tail end there and pull it tight to close up the hole in the middle. Then we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the first half double crochet. And at the end of round 1, you should have a total of 8 stitches. We're going to chain 1. For round 2, we're going to work 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. At the end of round 2, our stitch count is now at 16. We're going to join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch and then chain 1. Now on to round 3. We're going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. 1 single crochet into the next stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch. At the end of round 3, our stitch count is now at 24. We're going to join to the top of the first single crochet with a slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 2, and round 4 is where we're going to make the deer's ears. So we're going to double crochet into the first stitch, chain 2, double crochet again into the same stitch, chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and then slip stitch into the next 6 stitches. Now we're going to make the other ear. So we're going to chain 2, double crochet into the same stitch, chain 2, double crochet into the same stitch again, chain 2, and then slip stitch into the next stitch. Then we can cut off our medium brown yarn. You can weave in all of your ends on the back. And then we're going to move on to adding the antlers. So with our dark brown yarn, we're going to attach it to the first slip stitch beside the right ear. So right on the top there to the first slip stitch we worked after the first ear. So I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch, then add a slip knot to my hook and pull that loop through. Then I'm going to chain 5. Then I'm going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook, slip stitch into the next chain, then chain 3, single crochet into the second chain from the hook, slip stitch into the next chain, and then working back into our original chain 5, we're going to single crochet into those last 2 chains. So those 2 chains at the bottom from our chain 5, single crochet into each of those. Then working back down on the head, we are going to slip stitch into each of the next 3 stitches. And then we're going to repeat what we did for the first pair of antlers. So we're going to chain 5, single crochet in the second chain from the hook, slip stitch into the next chain, chain 3, single crochet into the second chain from the hook, slip stitch into the next chain, then single crochet into the last 2 chains from our original foundation chain. Then we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch on the head. Then you can cut off your yarn and weave in all of your brown yarn ends. Then we'll move on to the snout. With our light brown yarn, we are going to make a magic circle and chain 1. Then we're going to work 10 half double crochets inside of the circle. I'm going to take the short tail end there and pull it tight to close up that hole. Then we can join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch. Then we're going to cut off our yarn, leaving a long enough tail that we can use it to sew onto the head. Then you can sew on the snout and place your eyes, and then I'll show you how to embroider on the nose. So I sewed on the snout right in the middle and then added the eyes above that, about 4 stitches apart. Now I'm going to use my red yarn to embroider on the nose. So I'm just going to make a little triangle shape at the top, working into the center of the snout and about 2 stitches over. So I'm going to start from the back, going up through one of the top stitches, then down through the center. And then I'm going to come back up through in the next stitch over. So about in the middle, and then back down through the center. And then I'm going to go back up through the next stitch over and then back through the center again. Then I'm going to repeat that a couple more times, working in between all those strands I've already worked to try and fill in those gaps. There's going to be a little bit of a gap at the top, and that's okay, because when we're done doing this a few more times, we're going to go across the top. So I'm just going to add a few more strands in between those ones I've already worked. And once I've filled it in a little bit more, I'm going to now work across the top. So working horizontally now. I'm going to work a couple strands across. That's just going to fill in those top gaps. And then once you're done, you can tie off your yarn on the back. And there we have our little reindeer applique. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed these tutorials. Be sure to check out my website or the playlist here on my YouTube channel for the rest of the Advent Calendar tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.